It was supposed to be a joke. A stupid raffle at a campus cafe, where the winner got 2 tickets to America's biggest love festival. A carnival of lights and laughter, couples kissing under firework skies. I didn't believe in that crap. But fate, in its cruel sense of humor, decided I'd win. And the worst part? The only person who agreed to go with me was the one guy I swore I'd never share a breath of air with again. Ethan Cole. My old rival. My old friend. My unfinished mistake. The memory of him still burned, years after high school, where we'd spent every day competing in the basketball court, in debates, even for the same scholarship. He had this effortless charm, the kind that could piss you off and make you want to kiss him all at once. I hated him for it. Or maybe I hated myself because some part of me had always wanted him. Now here he was, leaning against the ticket booth at Union Station, waiting for me with that infuriating half-smile. God, he hadn't changed. Dark hair falling into his eyes, leather jacket hugging his shoulders like he'd walked straight out of a movie. When he caught me staring, his smirk widened. "Guess you're stuck with me, huh?" he said. I rolled my eyes, though my heart hammered so hard I swore the whole station could hear it. Trust me, I'd rather take my chances with a stranger. But strangers wouldn't know the way his voice could cut through me. Strangers wouldn't remember the night senior year when I almost confessed, when we almost kissed before he pulled away like I was nothing. We boarded the train to the festival city, the tension between us thick enough to choke on. Outside the window, America rolled by golden fields, small towns, neon-lit diners fading into the distance. Inside, it felt like we were trapped in a cage built of everything we'd never said. He broke the silence first. Of course he did. "You still holding a grudge?" I laughed bitterly. Holding it? I had it engraved. Ethan tilted his head, watching me the way he always did, like he could read every word I wasn't saying. And damn him, maybe he could. By the time we reached the city, the sun had set, and the festival was alive. Streets pulsed with music, laughter, cotton candy sweetness in the air. Strings of fairy lights draped over old buildings like they were dressed for love itself. Everywhere I looked, couples leaned into each other, hands brushing, lips meeting. It was like walking into another world. And then there was us 2 guys who weren't supposed to be here together, carrying years of unspoken history between them. The first challenge came quick. A couple's quest, where pairs had to complete tasks for prizes. I wanted to walk away, but Ethan's hand brushed mine steady, deliberate. "Come on," he said softly. "Let's play along." I should have pulled away. I didn't. We raced through the crowd, solving riddles, eating heart-shaped churros, pretending to be what everyone else saw us as, 2 people who belonged. At one booth, we had to write a love note to each other. I scrawled something sarcastic, hiding behind humor like I always did. But Ethan's note wasn't a joke. It read, "If I could go back, I'd choose differently that night." My chest tightened. My throat burned. I wanted to ask him what he meant, but he just looked away, his jaw set like he'd already said too much. Later, as fireworks painted the night sky, couples kissed under bursts of red and gold. The festival MC shouted about love being the greatest adventure, and I wanted to laugh at the cheesiness of it all. But then Ethan turned to me, his face illuminated by firelight, and there was nothing funny about it. "Do you ever wonder?" he asked quietly. "What would have happened if I hadn't pulled away?" My heart stopped. He remembered. That night. That almost kiss. I swallowed hard, the world spinning around us. All the time. His eyes softened, and for the first time, I saw him not as my rival, not as the guy who beat me at everything, but as someone who carried the same regrets I did. We didn't kiss then. Not yet. But when his hand found mine in the crowd, I didn't let go. The festival had only just begun, and so had we. The night was supposed to end with laughter, lights, and maybe a few drunken selfies. But instead, I found myself standing in the middle of the festival's quiet garden path, staring at Ethan like he was a ghost I couldn't outrun. He had just told me the truth, that the night he pulled away in high school wasn't because he didn't feel the same it was because he did. Too much. He was scared. Scared of losing his scholarship. Scared of his father finding out. scared of the world crushing him before he even had a chance to breathe. And I hated him for it. But I hated myself more for understanding. "You should have told me," I whispered, my voice trembling. His expression cracked, raw and unguarded. "I know. I thought walking away would protect us. But it only broke us." The festival music echoed faintly in the distance, laughter and cheers spilling through the night air. But here, under the glow of lanterns, it felt like the world had narrowed to just us two. "Ethan," I started, but the words stuck. My chest ached with years of unsaid things, years of rivalry that had only ever been a mask. He stepped closer, his hand brushing mine, hesitant but hopeful. "I don't want to run anymore." And God, I wanted to let him in. But anger still throbbed in me, sharp as glass. "You can't just show up, kiss me under some fireworks, and expect it to erase everything." "I don't expect it to," he said, eyes burning with something fierce, something desperate. I want a chance to try. A real one. No games. No rivalry. Just us." The garden seemed to hold its breath. My pulse thundered in my ears. And then, before I could talk myself out of it, I grabbed his jacket and pulled him against me. Our lips crashed together like we were making up for every stolen moment, every what if. His mouth was warm, insistent, but soft in the way he held me, like I was both a battlefield and a fragile thing he never wanted to break again. When we finally pulled apart, breathless, I pressed my forehead to his. "You're an idiot." He smiled, shaky but real. "Yeah, but I'm your idiot now, if you'll let me be." And for the first time, I didn't push him away. The next day, the festival felt different. Not because the games had changed or the crowds were any less overwhelming, but because I wasn't pretending anymore. We weren't pretending. Ethan laced his fingers with mine openly as we walked through the streets, ignoring the occasional curious glance. For once, we weren't rivals or mistakes or ghosts of what almost was. We were here. Together. There was one last event, the lovers' lantern ceremony. Couples wrote wishes on lanterns, then released them into the sky, watching their hopes float among the stars. We stood by the riverbank, paper lanterns glowing in our hands. I stared at the blank space, unsure what to write. Ethan nudged me. "What are you wishing for?" I smirked faintly. "World peace. Maybe a new phone." He rolled his eyes, but his voice softened. "Be serious." So I scribbled 3 words that felt both terrifying and true. "Don't leave again." When I looked up, Ethan was already watching me. He tilted his lantern so I could read his. "This time I stay." My throat tightened. I reached out, brushing my fingers against his, grounding myself in the moment. Together, we lit the lanterns, watching as the fire caught and lifted them skyward. They rose slowly, gently, until they were just specks of light against the endless night, carrying our promises with them. And for the first time in years, I felt weightless too. The train ride back was quiet, but not the suffocating silence of before. Ethan leaned against my shoulder, half asleep, the steady rhythm of his breathing calming the storm that had lived inside me for so long. I thought about how strange life was, that a stupid raffle ticket, something I'd never even cared about, had led me back to him. That the boy who once shattered me was now the man I couldn't imagine walking away from. When the train pulled into our stop, he stirred, blinking awake. "We're home." "Yeah," I said softly. "We're home." He smiled, sleepy and unguarded, and for the first time, I believed it. We were home, not in a place, but in each other. Weeks later, campus buzzed with stories about the Love Festival. People posted pictures, videos, laughter stitched into every frame. And somewhere among them was us two boys who once defined themselves by rivalry, now tangled in something far more complicated and far more beautiful. It wasn't easy. Old habits didn't vanish overnight. We still argued, still challenged each other, still stumbled on the fragile ground of learning how to be more than what we were. But every fight ended with softer words. Every silence ended with his hand finding mine. And every doubt ended with the memory of lanterns floating into the night, carrying a promise neither of us dared break. One evening, As we sat outside the cafe where it all began, Ethan nudged me with his shoulder. Still think I was the worst person to go with? I laughed, shaking my head. No, just the most dangerous. He raised an eyebrow. Dangerous how? Because, I said, leaning closer. You're the only one who can beat me and the only one I'll ever let win. And when his lips met mine under the fading light, I knew this wasn't just a story of rivals or regrets. It was a story of survival, of second chances, of love found in the most unlikely places. And this time it wasn't going anywhere. Because sometimes fate doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you need. And what I had always needed was him. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.